Get ready, it's time for the podcast voted most likely to make you say, what the flock? It's the Talking Pools show. And here are your hosts, the dysfunctional duo of myth-debunking pool pros, Rudy Stankiewicz and Andrea Nannini.
Hold up, wait a minute.
All right, so do you do you like pickles?
But how about hello?
Hi, Rudy.
My name is Andrea.
Do you like pickles?
Why, yes, I do like pickles.
Okay, so hi, I'm Andrea Nannini, and this is...
I'm Rudy Stankiewicz.
My co-host, yay. This is Talking Pools podcast. I'm excited because, well, we've already been recording for a minute. But anyway, so you like pickles?
I do like pickles.
It's weird with pickles. People either like them or they hate pickles. There's no in between.
I don't know anybody that hates pickles.
I do.
I don't like those ones, the garlic ones that come in the little plastic bag at the gas station.
No. You know what's a really good brand of pickle? It's Grios, it's 2 L's, Grillos. They're in the refrigerated pickle section. And here's why I'm going to tell you about these pickles.
Okay.
A couple of episodes ago, I told you about the pickled garlic. I actually don't. Did that make it into the show?
Yes, I remember.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool. So the TikTok trend with the pickled garlic, here's a TikTok pickle trend that I think you'll like.
Okay.
But you have to like pickles, obviously. So
I do like pickles.
Now what you do is you get a jar of pickles. It could be any type of pickle you like. I happen to have... So the pickles were sold out because of this TikTok trend. So when I went to go buy like the Clausen pickles...
There's a pickle... Whoa.
Yes.
Are you saying that there's a pickle shortage?
There is I told you last time, yes, the pickled garlic shortage. And now there was a pickle shortage because of the stupid TikTok. So anyway, this is why I bought those Grios. I don't know. Grillo is
whatever.
That's what you do with the Spanish L's. Anyway, so this jar, Grillo, yeah. So these pickles had the whole. It was like they had little chunks of garlic in there, the dill, the actual dill, like the leaf.
Okay,
you know,
right.
The herbs. There you go. Anyway, everything was in. It was still gourmet pickles. Anyway, really good. So what you do is you get any kind of pickle jar, full pickle jar. Packet of ranch seasoning. Okay. You take the ranch seasoning, you put it right inside the pickle jar.
So you don't drain anything out.
You do not drain the pickle juice. You
just pour it right in.
You just put the ranch packet right in the pickle jar. You shake it all up so that you don't have any gross, weird lumps. You put it back in the refrigerator. No ranch. We don't want ranch lumps. So you put it back in the refrigerator overnight.
Ranch lumps.
And then you have ranch pickles. It's so good.
Ranch pickles?
Yes.
Are they really?
It's so good.
Okay. And now there's a pickle shortage because of this.
Yes, there still is. I went to the store yesterday, and all the Clausen pickles were gone. They had the Grillos. They had the good pickles.
So they must be more expensive.
Like $1 or $2, not bad.
So, but now there's a pickle shortage because of TikTok.
Pickle shortage because of TikTok. Yeah. So
what are we going to run out of next?
And then,
oh my God!
One last thing with this pickle trend. Okay, there's another thing you can do with it. Once you're done eating the pickles and you still have that ranch brine, you put chicken breast or whatever chicken. You put chicken in that, and you marinate the chicken in your ranch pickle juice.
And then you have ranch pickle juice chicken.
That's right. And apparently it's delicious. I have not tried that yet because I didn't know about it.
Because you haven't finished the jar.
No, I finished the jar and then I threw it away before I knew about the chicken.
Oh, okay.
So now I have to do it again.
Gotcha.
So I'll let you know about that next week, maybe.
Pickled ranch chicken breast.
Well,
Got it.
When you fry chicken, like people will brine it, right?
Yes.
So there you go. That's your brine.
Well, when they grill it, I don't know if they brine it when they fry it. Do they brine it when they fry it?
I think some people do.
I know they brine it sometimes when they grill it.
Yeah. Well, either way.
So, interesting. Yeah. Did you know, and do you know what the main ingredient in pickle juice is?
Alum.
Yes, aluminum sulfate.
I knew that.
And do you know how much alum is in that pickle juice?
Less than what we use in a pool?
That is absolutely incorrect.
Yes. Oh, wait.
It is more than we use in a pool.
Oh.
When you enter, if you add Well, 1 pound of anything into 10,000 gallons of water will give you 12 parts per million, right? So if you add your 4 pounds of aluminum sulfate to a swimming pool, which is normally what they recommend, 4 to 6 pounds per 10,000 if you're going to do a green clean.
Okay.
So, right, so that's 12. 12 by 4 gives me what? 48. So that's 48 parts per million when you add that 4 pounds of aluminum sulfate.
Okay.
Pickle juice. You ready? Are you sitting down? You are. I can see you.
I am.
Other people don't know that, though. They can't see.
I'm sitting.
That's how this works.
Yes.
100. Ready? 110 parts per million of alum in pickle juice.
Oh my goodness! And that's what.
Oh my goodness!
And that's what, like 64 ounces of pickle juice if you get the big jar, something like that.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah. Sure. Why not?
I'm sure there's 64 ounces of pickle juice you could buy somewhere.
I have no idea where you're going with this, but I'm just telling you that parts per million in the jar is usually, unless it's alum free, because now I know they make alum free pickles.
They do?
That are, and do you know what they call those?
Garbage?
Cucumbers.
Oh, okay. Why?
I don't know what they call them, but I know they're making alum free pickles, and I can't tell you why. They also use calcium chloride in pickles. It's store-bought pickles. You're not going to find calcium chloride in non-store-bought pickles because calcium chloride actually slows the fermenting process. So if they don't add that to the pickles that they put on the shelf, what would happen is the jars would start exploding as you walk down the aisle. It'd be like a total haunted movie thing.
Ooh, that would be crazy. Hey, speaking of...
Seriously, all the jars would explode.
Without the calcium chloride?
Correct.
Wait, why?
Because of the gas that's because it's sealed with a lid on it now. Airtight, sealed, and the gas is just going to keep producing as it ferments and pickles and all that good stuff. And eventually the jar would just explode.
So the calcium chloride slows
that down.
Oh. Did you know that calcium chloride is damp red?
It's what now?
Damp red. You know damp red? Like you put it in your closet to absorb all the moisture? It's calcium chloride.
Or if you're up north, ice melt.
And they put it in bottled water too. I've read the ingredients because I'm
calcium chloride?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. What are we talking about this week? You're still in charge.
Fun facts. Chlorine.
Calcium.
God damn it.
Chlorine.
Chemical facts. Chemical fun time is what we just had. So
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about hurricane season because we were talking
hurricanes.
We were talking
that's
about
a super
safety.
Important topic.
Yes. So we were talking about safety last episode and the condo collapse and all that tragedy as well. And I was just thinking yesterday, I guess, was thinking yesterday.
The other yesterday, as opposed to the yesterday that just passed.
I don't know. This is weird.
So it was a few yesterdays ago. It was the other yesterday.
It was not the yesterday before. Anyway, this double recording thing kind of just screwed me up. Anyway, so I was thinking, how much worse the condo thing would have been if a hurricane had blown through, and
Well, or any time in the near future, that would be catastrophic. I mean, it already
was, but
that would be awful.
Yeah, so the hurricane is going, the hurricane season is going to put everybody at, way more risk. So, just wanted to talk about a couple of things that you can do to keep your pool safe, keep you safe, and also kind of just maybe stop the same question from getting asked 9,000 times.
9,000 times. So wait,
9,000 times an hour, though, not just 9,000 times.
This is a good subject because we are in hurricane season, right? It started June 1st.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
And it goes all the way up until when?
It's November something. I think it's like this.
November something.
Yeah, it's like the 14th or somewhere in November. I'm sorry.
Well, at least it ends in time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it usually ends the week or two before my birthday. So
there you have it. Andrea Nannini, born in November.
That's right.
Which makes you
Scorpio.
A Scorpio.
I'm on the cusp.
Okay. The cusp.
Yeah. I'm right at the end of being a Scorpio.
Okay. Which means?
I don't know.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't know what it means.
But thank you for sharing that tidbit with us. So, all right. So more on hurricane season. Okay.
So basically, the number one question that I get asked and the number one question I see online, and like the news usually does a whole thing about it. Should I drain my pool? No.
Should you?
The answer is no, absolutely not. Do not drain your pool. Not even like
Why not?
Not even like an inch. Don't even do it.
I mean, I know why, but why not? Tell us why.
So basically, an empty pool is a boat. All right. Now you have all this rain. You have Florida is a swamp marshland.
Explain. Whoa! You're gonna have to explain that whole comment you just made. An empty pool is a boat. So that'd be like if I say, my bathtub is an airplane.
No, you have. Well, your bathtub could technically be a boat too. Because don't they make?
But not an airplane. No. So we need more information here. So why is a pool an empty pool a boat?
Well, I was getting to that before you interrupted me.
So I should just shut up and wait.
Yes, I will. Do you?
All right, let me do that. I'll do that now.
My husband is the guy who asks me questions while we're both watching the same movie. So I don't know. Anyway, so. You have all this rain, right? You're in the middle of a hurricane or a tropical storm, what have you. You have all kinds of rain. This is saturating the ground. And you know what we call that? Groundwater.
Wet. Oh, okay.
Groundwater.
I was going with wet.
Well, yes, we do call it that as well. So you have the groundwater, and that basically pushes whatever the pool is made of. It pushes the concrete shell up out of the ground. We call it.
Well, water's heavy, right?
Right. So that's why you need the water in the pool. So if you don't, water weighs
8.33 pounds per gallon.
I did not know that.
It does. So if you actually took a calculator, I don't know if you have one there in front of you.
I have my phone.
Okay, so take your phone really quick, and let's say you just got a small pool. Let's say it's 10,000 gallons. That's a small pool, right? So multiply 10,000 times 8.33, and tell me how much the water in that 10,000 gallon pool weighs.
83,300 gallons.
Pounds.
Let me say that again. 83,300 pounds.
That's a heavy son of a bitch.
Right. So
all that weight helps to keep the pool in the ground.
Correct. So if you don't have that weight in the pool, the water in the ground is just going to push it right up. Now, if you have a liner pool and water happens to get behind the liner because you don't have the weight of the water in the pool keeping the liner flush to the shell, and water gets behind there, you're going to have a floated liner, you're going to have wrinkles, you might have some of it stretch and tear and who knows what else. Now, fiberglass pool, those will pop and float as well, but those can cave in too, right?
That sucker can take off down the street. If you have enough water, on the ground.
So there's your bathtub. There's your bathtub being an airplane.
Right. Yeah, there you go. So, you've seen the one, you remember when that sinkhole opened up near me and I went over there, right, and tried to get into the backyard.
I think so.
And it swallowed that swimming pool over here. So that was actually a concrete pool, but that sucker just fell right in.
Oh my God.
Which is the opposite of what we're talking about. That's a pool that actually sunk into the ground, whereas popping up. But yes, so scary stuff. So people ask me also, if I take the water out, can't I just take out the hydrostatic relief valve? Won't that make up the difference? Because that's what that's for, right? So the pool doesn't pop out of the ground.
You can, but do you really want to swim 6 feet down into the pool to pull that plug when you could just leave it alone?
I mean, after they drain the pool.
Oh, but, yes. Then that's the whole idea of that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not going to help you.
No.
I mean, it could help you, but it might not. The whole purpose of that hydrostatic relief valve, all it is a check valve, right? So if the groundwater level's high enough and the pool is empty, it'll open up like a check valve and allow the pool to fill with groundwater, hopefully fast enough that the pool doesn't pop up out of the ground. But the thing is that's just a regular 1.5-inch check valve. Even if you take it out, what you have is an 1.5-inch hole. Water is only going to flow through an 1.5-inch hole as fast as it can fit through an 1.5-inch hole. If that pool starts to come up because the groundwater level's high, it might not fill the pool fast enough to stop it. So that's why that's not a good idea.
Yeah. And then, you're just going to end up with a mess either way. So, excuse me.
Okay. Plus, now, if you have a pool person coming out to do this, or if you are a pool person, not everybody is allowed to take water out of a pool, depending on where you live.
That's correct. You have to have a certain kind of insurance for that.
Some areas you have to be a licensed contractor.
Yes.
All areas you have to have a certain type of insurance, right?
Right, yes. That's what I meant to say.
And that's called?
Pop-up insurance.
That's that pop-up, which means it's to cover the pool popping up out of the ground.
Yep.
That's the only insurance that'll cover that, right?
Yes. You have to.
So you need to make sure you have that before you take water out of somebody's pool, whether it's a hurricane or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're taking water out of somebody's pool and it's a hurricane, well, as Andrea just said, then you're an idiot.
That's correct. Well, I didn't say you're an idiot. You said that, but I don't disagree.
Well, okay. So we're there. At least we're on the same side. So don't take water out of somebody's pool because you heard it here first. Andrea Nanini says you're an idiot.
Well, as a podcast, we say that. Okay, yes. So don't drain your pool. Just do not do it. And to go along with that, there's really no reason. Well, let me start over. To go along with that, unless you are in an area that is like in danger of flooding, and just don't go out in the rain to turn the pump off. It's just going to cause you some problems. You're going to get wet. You might trip.
And if you're anything like Andrea's other sister we spoke about before, if you go outside and you get wet, your flying monkeys aren't going to get you out of there in time. You will melt.
You'll melt.
I know for a fact. What's her name? The other sister?
The other sister? I have 3 sisters.
The dark-haired
one is Jacqueline.
So Jacqueline is the one that follows us on Instagram.
Oh,
so
she is. Yes.
Listens to these. I'm assuming she listens to these things.
I don't know. I'll have to ask her.
Well, she's in this one.
Say that. I'm going to tell her.
She might want to start. I didn't do it. Just so, Jacqueline, if you are listening, I happen to not know you. So I don't know if you're evil, as Andrea says.
She's the evil one for sure.
She's the evil one. Okay. So, all right. So anyway.
Okay. So,
so the next thing I do is take every piece of yard furniture I have and fling it in the pool.
I was just going to get there. No, don't do that either. Basically, don't do anything in a hurricane. No, I'm just kidding.
Nothing at all.
That's not true. Don't do anything stupid like this. Like, don't drain your pool. Don't throw your furniture in the pool. So you're going to damage the surface, basically. If I'm not the pool police, you do what you feel like you got to do. I am advising you against it.
Because it's going to damage the surface. How so?
Well, so if you have metal furniture, you're going to end up with rust stains if you have a concrete pool.
Marks and mars and scratches.
You're going to have gouges. You could tear a liner. You're going to gouge some fiberglass. Rust is the main thing. I actually had a customer throw in a wooden table that was already kind of rickety. And they threw the wooden table in the pool. And so, I can't leave stuff like that in the pool. I got to get it out. The table basically broke apart as I was pulling it out of the water because it was wood. It was wooden. And the screws and nails had rusted. Like I said, it was already pretty shoddy of a table anyway. So I ended up breaking the table. And obviously, if you don't have the insurance to
taking out piece by piece.
Right. And so it was obviously frustrating for me. I was worried that they were going to get pissed off and try and make me pay for the table, which they didn't, but that's a possibility. If you're a professional that shows up and somebody's got furniture in the pool, I wouldn't touch it. I would make them get it out.
Well, you go back now and you talk about not taking water out of a pool, and I understand the reasoning behind it is because the pool is going to fill with water and people don't want their pool to overflow. But the thing they need to understand is it's okay if it overflows.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with, it's not ideal. It's not how the pool was built. But I remember when Hurricane Harvey came through Houston, right? We had something like more rain in a day than flows over Niagara Falls. Seriously.
Wow.
Not like in its lifetime, but in a period of time. I don't remember what the exact number was. But those pools were underwater. I have pictures of people's backyards that look like lakes where you can barely see the pool deck through the water. And that's fine. It will eventually absorb into the ground.
It will evaporate. Yeah. And it's a pool is not going to cause any more overflow just because it's water. It's not going to dump on its side.
It's not going to hold it all.
It's not. Well, I don't know. If people think that the whole thing's going to flood, and it's not going to cause any more flooding than if it were grass or concrete or whatever else. It's just going to sit on. It's just going to sit on top of the water.
It's just going to be the same. Yeah. So, and there's more risk, like you said, in taking it out. You're making the pool lighter. The ground's going to fill with a lot of water. You can get 16, 26, 30 inches of rain in a hurricane. Yep. That's going to push up on that shell. You want all the weight in that pool that you can possibly have, because even with all the weight in the pool, it can still pop up.
Well, that's why I was saying, I've seen pictures of people thinking that they can drain like just down to the top step, or like I see a lot of people go, well, I'm just draining it to its normal level. Well, you're still taking that much weight out of that.
Yeah, we want that weight in the pool. We want to hold it down.
And for people that are concerned that the pool overflowing will cause water to get behind the liner, that's actually going to stop water, because the water weight is keeping that liner flush with, so you're not going to have water getting in there behind that.
So there's more harm in removing water than there is in just letting it overflow. And that's the important thing to understand.
Absolutely.
You know what? It's a hurricane. It's a weather event. It's like a tornado or anything else. Damage is going to happen. Everything that we're telling you is to help to minimize that damage. It doesn't mean you're going to get off scot-free.
Right.
It doesn't mean your pool's going to be perfect afterwards, but it's going to be better than if you
try to go
throw all your learned furniture and
sorry.
And Andrea has this big thing about getting wet, so don't do that.
I hate being soggy. I get rained on. You know about Florida, all right? Florida, it rains, and now we're in this rainy season. It is serious. It's raining now.
So, and as far as it went when I was a pool person, the way I looked at it was, when it rains, I get wet. That's just what happens.
Well, then how can you see in the pool to vacuum or whatever?
I do the best I can.
You just fling the vacuum around. Big W, right?
Well, no, here's the thing.
Big W.
Well, before we're gonna have to get back on the regular subject in a minute. But seriously, it rains. It rains every single day in Florida. So if I skip cleaning somebody's pool because it's raining, that means their pool's just never going to get cleaned.
Well, what I do to remedy that situation, because that's actually a huge problem, where I've had actually people complain, like every time you get here, it starts raining because, I do my route. So I start at, one pool. By the time 3:00 rolls around and I'm at Mr. Smith's pool, it's raining. And so poor Mr. Smith every week has to deal with me not doing his pool because it's raining. So I will do my route backwards every once in a while and start with the last person first if I've had that rain issue.
Well, I had in my service agreement that if there was heavy rain, if there was rain enough to prevent something from happening, you're still going to get your service.
You're still going to get a reduced You're still going to get chemicals at least.
You got a reduced level of service. You know what? You're right. Vacuuming the pool when it's raining is almost pointless because you can't see anything, but I want to get out as much as I can.
Right.
So skimming, the same thing. I want to get out as much as I can. Now, if there's lightning, that's a whole different story.
Yes.
Now you back off. But as far as rain goes, I don't care how hard it's raining. Even if the only thing I get to do is empty baskets and test the water, that's what I would do.
Right. You still have to do something.
That pool will be serviced to one extent or another.
If you don't add chemicals, though, all that fresh rainwater is going to cause you problems. So.
Well, no, I mean, I'll add chemicals, but I'm going to test the water. I'm going to empty the baskets. Right. And if I can't do anything else, then at least I can just make sure that I got the water balance.
Yes, I agree.
But that whole skipping pools things, you know what? I'm not a landscaper. I don't melt when it gets wet, when I get wet. I just go out there and clean the pool. If it makes me feel better to carry a fiberglass pole, then I'll carry a fiberglass pole.
Yeah, but lightning strikes trees.
Words of wisdom from Andrea.
So fiberglass
lightning
my ass.
Strikes trees. Well, that's the whole. I mean,
I'm just kidding. You know that.
I'm not going to be the person at the pool with the 16-foot lightning rod. That's just all that it's coming down to.
Yes. My whole thing was just stay inside. You don't need to try and let water out. You don't need to try and shut the pump off.
Obviously, because people in your family have been known to melt if it rains.
I'm going to tell my mother what you just said. What were we talking about? Not draining water.
Hurricanes,
not draining.
Here I am.
Been to the restaurant.
I know, it's horrible.
It's okay.
No, but I've seen the Scorpions in concert, and that's good enough for me.
Scorpions?
You don't know who the Scorpions are, do you?
Yes, I know they do. They sing that song. I know that. I know that song.
They do sing that song. Okay, very cool. They're the ones, they sing that song, right? No. With the other people that play the instrument.
With the stuff.
with the stuff on the stage.
All right.
In concerts. Yeah, those people.
All right.
So go ahead.
Forgot. Okay. Don't drain water. Don't put your furniture in. Another big one is, well, maybe not big one anymore. I don't know. I still see a lot of people doing this. If you have a screen enclosure, people will slash their screen panels because they...
Why in God's name would they slash their screen panels?
Well, because they think that the screen is going to act like a sail and it's going to tear the whole enclosure off the house.
So what do you normally tell them? I know what I tell them to do. What do you tell them to do? Obviously, slashing up your screens is a $4,000 to $5,000 mistake.
Yes.
What instruction do you give?
I tell them not to do that because that is useless. Don't do that. You're just costing yourself money. I actually spoke to a screen guy that is in my city that I have a mutual friend with. And he told me that basically the newer enclosures, so if you have a new house, not something from like the 70s or whatever, but if you have within the last 10 years or so, they're actually designed so they won't do that. Like,
so you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to worry about it. They take that into consideration when they are designed and when they're engineered and when they're built. And they actually... I don't know all the detail. It's been a while since I talked to him, and I wrote a blog article about it. And actually, I had a guest blog from him. So there's actually a lot of information that you can read directly from the screen company about why you should not do that. And we can link that
from the screen guy's mouth.
Straight from the screen guy about why that's not a good idea. He even said that he takes a lot of kind of crap from his own industry. We don't have to put that in there, but.
Well, I look at, you know what, if you're going to throw $4,000 away, give it to me.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take it.
I mean, serious, we'll split it. It's cool, you and I. So anybody who wants to slash their screens, instead of doing that, write out a check and mail it to
make it out to Talking Pools Podcast.
Right. And then, or better yet, make it out to cash.
There you go. Yeah.
And then we'll give you, and just reach us on Facebook. We'll tell you where to send it. So you can do that. But I usually just told people to, take their doors off.
The doors? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Take the doors of the screen enclosure off. So then that way, if it's, older than 10 years ago, like you said in the 70s, because that is more than 10 years ago. You are accurate. So that way, what the whole problem is if you get a gust of wind that comes in one side, the other side acts like a sail and it blows your screen enclosure away.
Right. That's the concern. But that's not a thing.
I just take both doors off.
Well, that could work. I had a customer that had removable screen panels.
That is, that is if you have a fenced-in yard. Obviously, we still have to be safe. If you don't have a fenced-in yard, you best not slash that enclosure or take the doors off because that is your barrier. So don't disable your barrier.
Correct, yes. Drowning prevention.
If it blows away and because God disabled your barrier, that's a whole other story. But you don't do it.
Correct.
Last thing we need is somebody drowning in your pool during a hurricane because they wandered across your yard and fell in. I
didn't know. Yeah, that would be tragic.
Things happen. People have hurricane parties. I've seen them.
We do.
I know they exist. So, all right. So he says just leave it be?
Just leave them. Yep. They're fine.
Okay. All right. So what should I do? I mean, right now, you've told everybody a whole shit ton of what not to do before a hurricane. What should they?
Well, that was during a hurricane. What you should do, that's what you should not do during the hurricane. What you should do to prepare for the hurricane, take all the furniture inside the house, put it in the garage, put it inside the house. You should also, it's a good idea to add extra chlorine or, whatever your sanitizer is to bump that up. Because you are going to get tons and tons of fresh water. And that's just a good way to stop the algae to stop any algae from blooming. because of...
Well, you could go shot. I mean, a hurricane's different than a tornado. So you usually know this sucker's coming for at least a couple of weeks, right?
A hurricane? Well, it depends.
Yeah, I mean, even if it changes course, you still have at least a day's notice.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
I mean, probably a week.
So you can purchase the things you need for afterwards also.
Yes.
Let's assume we're not going to have electricity. So pick up a carboy of liquid chlorine. If you're using granule or you're using tablets, I mean, I know there's no tablets now, but in a normal year when tablets exist back in time, like in the 70s. But if you pick up a carboy of liquid chlorine, it's going to dissolve instantly when you pour it in. You'll have it for when the storm ends, preparing for you to be without electricity. You could get ahead of time, you could purchase flock or alum. Alum is flock, right? Flocculant. You can make sure you have that on hand. Make sure you have enough product to bring your pool back to life, just in case you're without power. Because if you're without power, your pool store is going to be without power.
Correct.
So guess what? You ain't getting in, right? So, and I'm assuming you're not going to go down there and loot, start marching around stealing buckets of chlorine tablets.
No, let's not give people any ideas because there's already a shortage going on.
Don't loot pickles. So, but seriously, so buy what you need to bring the pool back to shape afterwards. I know it's a guess. And if the hurricane turns and goes somewhere else and doesn't hit your house, big whoop-de-doo, you can use these things anyway.
For sure. And then you just have a supply and you're good.
Okay. So what else should we do? What about the breaker? Should I shut off the breaker?
Yes.
I tell people yes as well.
Yes,
why?
It's a good idea to shut the breaker off. If you do lose power and something happened, and say during the storm you've lost power and a tree fell on your pump or something, some kind of damage has occurred, and then the power comes back on and you have the crack in the pump, or you have something got busted, there's broken pipe somewhere, and then all of a sudden you have this issue of
you could have a power surge.
You could have a power surge.
I've been a part. I do. You know what? People don't think about it, but if lightning hits a telephone line, and most of ours are buried here in Florida, so it's not really as much here as it is in
not
other
in my
places,
area. They're all up. Yeah.
Are they? Okay. So if lightning hits a telephone line, it will follow the path of that line. And I didn't always believe that, because my grandmother told me this story about sometime before I was born, lightning hit a pole and then it shattered the glass on the front of the television.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right, yeah, okay, Grandma, whatever. But then this happened. I was in the pool industry. It was like 1993.
So basically the 70s.
I will stop this. So it's 1993, which is almost the 70s. And I'm in a pool store and it's sunny day. It's a beautiful day. It's sunny outside. All of a sudden, 3:00 in the afternoon, it is black as night. And you can hear a train coming.
Ooh, tornado.
I was nowhere near a train. Tornado passes right over the store.
Oh, my goodness.
I happen to be on the phone, and I hear crack, and it knocked me on my ass.
Wow. It went through the phone.
So lightning hit a pole somewhere, and it followed the line and knocked me on. And then there was a big mess afterwards. There was no electricity.
Do you have superpowers like John Travolta?
I thought that was because of a tumor.
In the movie Phenomenon. Didn't he get struck by lightning?
Oh, I thought that... Wasn't it a movie Michael?
Was it? I was thinking of Phenomenon. He got struck by lightning.
I was thinking of Michael, where he had a brain tumor.
I don't remember that movie.
I think it's called Michael. I don't know. We'll have to look. We'll talk about that later. All right. So anyway, no, I don't have superpowers.
Okay.
As Andrea Googles movie names quickly. So, all right, go on with the hurricane stuff.
The breakers. Okay, so shut off the breakers before the storm. Don't go in the storm shutting off the breakers. See, that's what I was talking about.
Unless they're attached to your house and in your garage.
Well, then you could do that. But a lot of the times the pool breakers are outside by the pool equipment.
They are often, yes. Okay, so ahead of time, shut off the breaker.
Yes, and stock up on your chlorine. feel like I'm...
Oh, well, yeah, that also brings my point back, because if you shut off the breaker, what if there's a surge of electricity? That could destroy your pool pump.
There you go.
The other thing is, if you're without electricity and you have to use a generator, you really don't want the electric going to the pool pump anyway.
Yeah, no, because you want that for your refrigerator.
Because that's just a waste.
For your air conditioner.
You want it for the refrigerator, for maybe the one AC unit that you have, or however big your... I mean, unless you have a big generator, then you know what? Party on.
Wayne.
Party on, Garth. Party on, Wayne. It's all good. All right, so now what? The hurricane's upon us. You're the pool person. You go to the customer's house. You say, here I am. I'm going to rock you like a hurricane.
I don't think I would use that song. Well.
Better choice.
Yeah. Help out your pool pro. If you have a pool guy coming or a pool girl like myself, it's always nice.
Pool girl.
It's always nice. If you have stuff that is your property that you don't want potentially damaged, take it out yourself, like the table that I was talking about earlier. Unfortunately, the table didn't make it.
How about try to be a little fucking understanding that you're not the only pool on the route?
There's that. That's a really good one.
I mean, seriously, following a hurricane,
really good one.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything like that, but you'll get people complain, right? You may have a chainsaw to get out of your driveway. Your pool pro is going to try to get to your home as soon as they possibly can. They're going to be out there making sure they have a way to get to you. They need to make sure that they're able to get gas to get to you.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And then they're going to go to every home, and they're going to start the job and finish the job, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get that job completed before they move to the next house. So guess what? Your pool pro might not be able to show up today. If phones are out, they're not going to be able to tell you they're not coming today. So I get it. You got something going on. I understand that, and it is a priority to you, and it is also a priority to your pool person. But your pool person may have 100 other pools that are in the same condition or worse than yours that they have to get through to get to each one of the homes. So be a little patient, be understanding. And if they don't get there this week, there might be a reason for it. I
think for the most part, all the people that I've dealt with have been pretty understanding. Obviously, you do have your...
You don't have trees in your neighborhood.
What?
You have palm trees. You live out on the beach.
Goodness.
There's no trees in your neighborhood.
No. Have you ever seen an oak tree?
So there's no leaves. I've seen pictures you take. There's palm leaves and mangoes.
No, I've had whole palm trees in my pools before. No, they get trashed. Trust me.
I live in the friggin' woods, okay, compared to where you live.
Yeah, I live in the pine needle forest. Everybody thinks there's sand and beach and stuff, but no, there's some deadly foliage.
But now that we brought up that, it is also now if there is some way to communicate with your customers, if you are a pool professional, that's your responsibility also. Yes. So because it's give and take, they need to be understanding that it's going to take you a while to get there. If you have a means of communication, if that's not wiped out, if your cell tower didn't get knocked down or whatever we're using, you should call them. You should email them, right? Text them, whatever you got to do to let them know, hey, this is when I think I'm going to be there, but I have all these pools that I haven't even seen, so I don't know what's going on, but I will keep in touch with you, and then give them updates. Yeah. That'll make it a lot easier, don't you think?
Absolutely. And, some tips, some people are willing to go to the store and add chemicals if they can, or some people have that stuff. A lot of people are willing to do whatever they can to help you out, when you get there, which is really nice.
You can even use regular household bleach if you have to.
The splashless kind, though.
No, because there's no chlorine in that. Nobody knows what's in that.
No.
Really. It's like... It's some kind of thick liquid syrupy.
It's probably
crap.
Mr. Clean Magic Erasers.
All right, but we don't know what's in that, so don't put that in your pool. Try not to use the scented bleach because there's no point to that. Just regular household bleach. It's half the strength of the sodium hypochlorite that you buy in the pool store.
But it's better than nothing.
So you can... it's better than nothing. It's going to cost more. It's more expensive to use. But if you're in a pinch, you can use that to keep your pool from turning green. You don't want your pool to turn into a swamp and become a hotbed for mosquitoes. I mean, a lot of the storms we get between now and September, it's still hot weather, depending on where you live. So we don't want that to happen. So do try to keep up with it as well if you can. And communicate with your pool professional as long as you have a line of communication. Hey, what should I do until you get here? How beautiful would that? It never happens. But how beautiful would that be? What can I do on my end while I'm waiting for you to get here?
Clean the pool out first.
Or
get them chemical. Scooping stuff out if you have a screen. Just do whatever you can to help and,
have one of those cheese plates waiting for me.
A charcuterie board, that would be delightful.
Yes. You heard it here.
Yes. Bring your pool by charcuterie.
Charcuterie boards for your pool professionals following weather events is one of the nicest things that somebody can actually do.
I would be excited if somebody did that.
And I'm telling you know what? And despite common belief, pool professionals do like summer sausage. I know you can usually only find it at wintertime, but that stuff's pretty.
Sorry.
That stuff's pretty darn good.
I've never had it.
Say it isn't so. All right. So, and then the same thing, the pool professional, if you can, you should reach out to your homeowners and let them know what you want them to do.
And let them know
while they're waiting.
And let them know what to expect to if you plan on, some people have an extra cleanup charge, a rate, for if the pool is extra super duper trashed. I don't think
anybody's going to include a hurricane cleanup in their normal rate. I would expect to have to.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that if you do something like that, some people like to do stuff for free, but, not everybody. So anyway.
No, but she has a good point, Andrea does.
Make sure that your customer is aware that there's probably going to be an extra fee for cleaning up. Like I was about to say, I usually go by how many times I have to empty my vacuum bag. So if it's, if I have to stop and take the vacuum out and empty the bag, however many times, that's going to add time to your visit. That's going to add steps. So just make sure the customer's aware that there's probably going to be an extra.
No, Andrea, that's a great point, because if you just show up and clean the pool and
then bill them,
there are a lot of people who are going to think that was part of the normally rate, and that's included because you said you do pool service. So they have to understand that not everything's included. In fact, if you have a service agreement, that's something good to include in your service agreement, that weather events and acts of gods will be charged at an additional rate. If that's what your plan is. If you want to give it away, then you might as well be hooking on a corner.
Well, then you just are the people who abducted me last week, you jerks.
I mean, serious. You have value. Don't give it away. And if you're a homeowner,
that's your time.
If you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, but you don't work for free either.
Thank you. Yes. And you just, that goes to, if somebody asks you, what can I do before you get here to help? Be like, well, if your pool is extra dirty, if there's a lot of debris in there, I might have to charge you an extra fee. So if you want, you have a net, you have a this or that, go ahead and, clean it up yourself. You don't have to be mean like that, but communicate that.
Do it yourself. Have that sucker clean before
exactly. That better be spotless.
And the cheese.
Yes, also the cheese platter.
It's charcuterie, right? That's the right
word. Charcuterie, yeah.
Okay. With with a lot of those cured Italian meats like prosciutto and stuff like that. Don't just cheap out and go with just cheese alone. Put some meat on it.
Get some, you know what you need? We'll take it back to the TikTok viral trends for charcuterie. It's very important that you have the little honeycomb with the honeycomb stick.
And there is nothing wrong with putting bacon on a charcuterie tray.
No, you can actually wrap breadsticks in the bacon. And the prosciutto.
People don't do it, though. I mean, like we say,
that's because they have no class.
I tell people, I know you tell people, I tell people, right? This is the podcast Bacon would listen to if Bacon owned a swimming pool. That's how good we are.
I agree with that 100%.
All right. So then there's that. All right. So after we got the hurricane. All right. If you don't have a pool person, what should you do immediately following the hurricane?
Well, same thing. If hold on. Sorry. My advice would be the same as what you asked me in a couple of episodes ago. If you have a green pool, what would you do? Same thing I would do after the hurricane. Make sure your pump is functioning. Make sure, you have no damage to any of your equipment, and then go ahead and move on to taking care of the actual water. And that would be, removing any debris, testing the chemicals, bringing things back up into balance. That would be the order that I would go in.
Beyond balance, right? Because, we want the levels in balance, but as far as your disinfectant, as far as chlorine, I want to treat this almost like it's a crypto issue if it's a diarrhea accident, because if your pool overflowed and flooded and the whole yard flooded, you have to assume that there's bad things in your pool now, and we want to kill them all. That's a good
point, yeah, because then if...
Kill them all before you let your... Well, seriously, before your family gets in.
So when the hurricane is all done, okay, you just really want to make sure that you... like Rudy was saying earlier, that you just want to treat your pool correctly. There could be things, especially if your pool was flooded. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of bacteria, a lot of viruses, a lot of stuff that can make you sick, that can get into your pool.
Zoonoses.
What is that?
Right. Animal diseases. Zoonoses. Zoonotics.
I never know how to pronounce it.
Like zoo. Yeah.
Sounds
like
sounds like it smells.
Noses.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that you can get into your swimming pool, so you want to make sure you treated it properly. Like we were talking about a couple episodes ago about the animal poop getting in your pool, and pee and things that can happen because of those issues. If you have dogs, you have a yard full of dog pee, I would imagine. Treat it accordingly.
Cool. Definitely treat it. Yeah. Don't treat it just like it's just muddy water. Let's treat it like it's contaminated water, because that's what it is. And we don't want anybody getting sick after the fact. Right? You've just gone through enough with your family with the hurricane. You probably had some electric outage, yard cleanup, a whole bunch of stuff going on. The last thing you need to do is think that you're good and then have a family member become ill because we didn't have a high enough disinfectant level in the water. In fact, that's another good reason to reach out to pool professionals. Yeah. Granted, if you don't have a regular pool professional at that time, they're going to be backed up helping out the folks that they already have on their routes. But if you can deal with waiting and having them come out to check it when they get to a point that they can, that's something else that you can do.
Right. Sorry. He was poking his head out. Yes, so definitely. Don't let anybody, just think that they can go swimming or jump in the water to cool off. You wouldn't, not you wouldn't, because people do, but one of the things that they say on the news when there's flooding around is don't go walking through standing water. You never know what's in it. Kind of the same thing. Don't go swimming in your pool if it's brown, because you don't know what's in there.
Well, I'll tell you what. Always a good start. I'll tell you what. But Augie, I tell you what, if you down here in Florida, like some of us up here in my part of the state, one thing you might find right there is you're going to have an old gator in that pool. Right
thank goodness. You sound like the dude from Swamp People. Elizabeth.
But seriously though, you know what? If you can't see what's in the water and the whole backyard was just flooded, I'll tell you, when the lakes become part of your pool because they're connected now, everything that's in that lake is
fun facts.
There you go. All right. So what else do you got for us? We were talking about hurricanes today. And again, this is not just limited to hurricanes, is it? This is any major weather event that we're discussing. Tornado, tropical storm, monsoon, tidal wave, whatever you got going on. Snowmageddons, no, it's different. Those are different. So, all right, almost any major storm.
All right. Well, that has been our show. Thank you for listening. And like we said earlier, or the last episode, we hope everybody stays safe. This is why I wanted to talk about these safety issues and just, create an awareness and create some kind of, hopefully somebody will be able to prevent something. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know if we should thank people for listening or thank people for dealing with us, because really...
I am offended by that.
You should be. It was intentionally offensive. Good. But what you should do, though, is whether you're offended, whether you dealt with us, whether you enjoyed the conversation or not, subscribe anyway.
Subscribe.
It's always different every week.
Subscribe, like, and follow.
Subscribe, like, follow, share. Tell a friend about us.
And if you
say good things. Say nice things,
because then I will have anxiety about it.
There's it's karma, right? You only want to talk nice about people.
Well, I do.
So talk nice
Except
about
for
us.
Georgia, apparently.
Well, I'm not talking to you. I meant to people listening. All right. You know what? I've had it with Andrea today. So my name is Rudy and I'm out.
And I'm Andrea and apparently I'm intolerable. So listen to me more.
Are you a cool professional who values education? Check out the certification classes available at cpoclass.com. We have online options for CPO, AFO, and pool algae specialist. What are you waiting for? Go to cpoclass.com now.